Some people emphasize those things more than actual principles. Most of our people that we know are saved according to their statement. I know we could break down and say they ain't living like that, but according to the profession of the mouth of the average black person, they are believers in Jesus Christ. That's most of our people. And they're still not where they need to be. Why? Because that part don't matter. What matters is how you actually live a principled life, not whether you believe in this happened or not.
Where is the foundation? Because you're making it seem like as humans, that's not necessary, and it is very necessary. Your collective amount of data over the years that you've compiled information, formulated belief.
I said if it never happened to our people, I wouldn't even
no. I said no.
Illa, I just want to say I agree. Me and you, we out in the earth. There ain't much we couldn't get done. You heard, right? Even though we don't agree with this, which was your overarching sentiment, I want to make sure that's clear, right? But the one thing why I'm laughing, right? Because Ecclesiastes is where they talk about a fool and all that. You know what I mean? And then in Ecclesiastes 12, it says, hold on, let me read it. Hold on. One second, JR. Hold on. So it says, and further, my son, by these, my son, be admonished of making many books, there is no end. And much study is a weariness of the flesh. Do you accept that from Ecclesiastes or just the fool part?
It depends on how you look at it. On one hand, because it varies. Like I'm sorry, y'all. I don't take everything like marching orders. That's what y'all do. You know, I eat the meat and spit out the bones because in some ways that can be true, and in some ways that cannot be true. In some ways, somebody can just be so book smart that they don't actually understand reality. And sometimes people could be so out of touch with reality that they're not intelligent. The Bible says you can't be too heavenly to know earthly good, right? So the Bible speaks from both perspectives. They talk about overindulgence in intelligence and overindulgence in practicality, and like it says all of that. That's why I said at the beginning that we have to go beyond belief to something that is more practical, like empathy. I said that from the beginning. I already knew where y'all was going. I prophesied. I already know where y'all was taking this shit. But that's why I said let's go beyond that from the door.
Remember, I preface, I understand what your overarching sentiment is right now. When we're talking about Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, right? It's literally advice. You know what I mean? It's you know what I mean.
You get advice from a lot of places, bro.
Yeah, no, but it's not like the parting of the Red Sea. It's advice on how.
And that's the part. And I said that when you stick to principles of living, all books have that. But when you start, I'm talking about a certain. When I came on the conversation, I was talking about a certain type of mindset. I'm talking about that person who will disqualify. I'm gonna say it again. I'm talking to the person who will disqualify association, partnership, friendship, even business relationships based on a disbelief in supernatural happenings that we may or may not know, but will discard the fact that they live according to principles. That's stupid and that's ignorant, and that's what I'm talking about. Does that make sense?
Yes, to an extent, though.
All right, I'll take 75%. I'm cool.
I know NY was trying to get in there.
Go ahead, Mike.
Shit, it's about to reopen the whole conversation. When we originally started talking about this, I said, what is the parameters for the book that you consider fact? And you told me that I don't you gonna read the books that I read. That was your response to me or something like that. Can you tell me that?
This the last time, Mark. You was talking about no one can prove to you reality before a certain year, correct?
So, all right.
Correct. That's I'm wrong. Okay, that's not correct.
That's not correct.
Okay, that's not correct.
What I was saying was using genealogical data or a point we can track from is the only thing that I can prove, and everything else is a belief.
That's what I just said.
Okay, if you say
I can summarize it. I just did it the short way. But even though what you said is definitely not true, because I just read something before that year, but whatever. What I said to you is what I said to you, because you're talking about I can't pinpoint the genealogies that you guys may speak of, but the genealogy I know for myself, I can pinpoint back to this certain year. What I told you was what I'm talking about is irrelevant to that, because regardless of where you place yourself in 1700, 1800, I'm talking about a historical thing that happened to all of us that displaced us, whether you was in Africa, whether you was in Jamaica, whether you could take yourself back to 1700. I'm talking about the antagonist plan and how they displaced all of us. So it don't matter where you say
So I don't
talking about what happened to us.
So I
Not
don't
where we
disagree.
from so much, but what happened to us.
I don't disagree with the sentiment of what happened in
That's
this
all I'm
region,
talking about.
right? So hold on. Just listen to what I was asking with that question, because I think that's what the other people was asking you as well. It was trying to get a parameter so that they could isolate and say, okay, this is what you're saying is what you'll acknowledge as the logic that's reasonable. Let's find something within that parameter. That's where I'm like, the only reason I kept bringing the thing up is because I was saying this is why I'm giving this logic. It wasn't to say what you're saying is incorrect. It was to say, hey, this is the only thing I personally can prove. If someone else can prove something that ties directly to me, then I will understand it. That was
So let me ask you. So do you think that the Christian colonial slave trade affected you?
Absolutely.
So what are we talking about? Because that's all I said.
Because I was trying to clarify my point from earlier. You told me.
Oh, so that's what it's about. What your point. But just say your point. I ain't got nothing to do with that. What I'm talking about, you just said that's true. So I'm lost, brother.
Yeah, I never disagree with that portion of the conversation. I was trying to get the parameters for the logic. Is the only thing that I was trying to do, which is what they've been trying to establish too. It wasn't to attack your point. We all know what Christianity, well, white supremacy practices Christianity has done to our people, right? So I that's not up for debate. My point was, because I'll take it one layer further so you understand why I'm giving you the pushback on it. Dr. Chancellor Williams could write a book, but John Smith can also write a book and reference history from historical POV. Now, quoting the historical POV of one and saying that, and it can contradict the other, because we know history can be told in varying different degrees from varying different perspectives. That was the reason I was trying to quantify what is the thing. And I just,
I can't, but this is the thing, brother. I can't do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. History is not a debate on a panel. It's something that you got to go home and all the inquiries you have, look it up and read. I can't answer that for you. I answered it for myself. But if you want to learn, then go learn. Like, I can't tell y'all what to think. I'm telling you what I read. That's why I don't just be talking. I say, oh, here go a reference right here. Boom. Because I'm backing up what I'm talking about with bodies of work that have no relation and no connection to me. To me, that's the honorable thing. So if you have a belief or there's something that you want to go follow up with scholarship, conclusion exists. We always act like conclusion is some vast thing. When you go to school, they come to you with conclusions. Read this. This goes here. But when it comes to art history, it's like it's like this shit ain't rocket science, bro. Just read some books.
Do you believe that conclusion does need to have some level of human account? And what I mean by that is typically if something comes to a foundation, it means that it's been introduced, typically tested amongst many classifications, and it becomes universal. Does that sound?
The ways of peace is universal. Love is universal. Empathy is universal. Having discernment is universal. They're not privy or directly connected to no religion. It's connected to you.
Great, but that's where I think that's why I've stay consistent from this POV. You are making it to dispel the religious application. I personally have not even said there's an issue with that. I was only saying, and I think Marcus summed it up. Where is the foundation? Because you're making it seem like as humans, that's not necessary, and it is very necessary. Your collective amount of data over the years that you've compiled information, formulated belief, whether it's a scattered one, whether it's an open one. You can't, as a human, not digest something that's coming from other humans that formulate even a perspective, because your perspective is more open. You have a introduction to life to where you'll take information, you reference it because you've been doing it, and then you'll say on another token, but then don't take just everything and believe it in one dimensional way. So it's like you want to live on both sides.
This is what I'm saying, bro. This is what I'm saying. If you want to play the belief game, play it. What I'm saying is it's more fruitful and more intelligent to when it comes to everything I'm talking about. Is not just to say believe this versus believe that. I'm trying to give I'll try to present a perspective that gives you reasoning behind what you're dealing with right now, socially, economically, politically. It just happened to be something that's religious based. We just happen to be going up against a Christian powered regime. It just happened to be so. So my affinity with religion is only because religion was a part of what colonized us. If we want for that, I wouldn't even talk about the shit. So it's not about you to believe it or not. I'm just presenting anything that's just so happened to be connected to our demise. It just so happens that what came to us under the guise of a faith. Now, like I said, the foundation to me, I say it again, is peace. Jesus was the Prince of Peace. Islam means peace. Jews say shalom, that means peace. The Ethiopians say salam, that means peace. So peace is broad, but it's still. But it's still. Go ahead.
So let me understand this. Basically, what you're saying is, if it didn't, I'm gonna just interrupt and just say this. Basically, if it didn't happen in the event of a trauma or any type of detriment to your people, you would have never questioned its validity.
No,
I don't
said
think
if it never happened to our people, I wouldn't even say that.
No. I said no. What I said was, if religion, specifically Christianity, was not a part of something that displaced us, it wouldn't be a topic of discussion for me when my conversation is about getting us out of it. So if what put us in came out of a religious concept, that'll make me study religion because it was used against me. That's what I said.
So if it was used to empower you, you wouldn't expound any energy of trying to devalidate.
Truth empowers, peace empowers.
No, what I'm asking the question.
Listen. Truth empowers, wisdom empowers, knowledge empowers. These are not things that are only found in a belief. It is a universal concept. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding are universal concepts. You can get these things from many different religions, but you can get them without them. Religion can assist you. It can help guide you.
You're lecturing the understanding.
I'm not lecturing, bro. I'm talking about the concept. You're talking about the dogma. I'm just rather focused on the concept.
Well, I'm just going by what you said. You made a statement saying that if religion or whatever wasn't.
I know you're trying to get back in that too, y'all.
Go ahead.
The position I take from it, and this is why I said, and again, appreciate you, Philosophical. There to me is a rebellion within the community that's baked in that scatters what you cannot not give credence to. Foundation is necessary. We can even take it to the direction of family. There being a pillar of sorts. Community is foundation. So when you're talking about information, you need foundation of information. Where you go from there, totally up to that individual. But I think it's dangerous when we try to make it seem like, especially specifically, you admitted it, so I respect you for that. Your affinity to, I would just say, for lack of a better term, attack the biblical introduction of foundational truth. Where I'm saying, no, I'm not. I'm saying me personally. I'm speaking to me, what I'm gathering from it. And I'm saying that even if you just took just that, most individuals from just that one linear, pillar, that the book teaches you to be studious. It teaches you to bring out principles and birth those things into your life, because the Bible in itself, just the Bible in itself, does not work K through 12, does not work associates through bachelors. But from a principle basis, those things are all coinciding.
But I said that like mad times. I said when people deal with the principles, I'm fine with that. There's nothing. The principles are universal. It's the dogma. Like it's like you're a principled person.
Sure.
And I'm a principal. And say if I'm a principled person, I'm talking about somebody that say, yo, you live right, you live righteous, you move right. Like I really said this earlier, y'all, but it's cool. I said if you live right, you move right, I'll mess with you. But you don't want to catch the Holy Ghost with me, or you don't want to go to church with me. Some people emphasize those things more than actual principles. Most of our people that we know are saved according to their statement. I know we could break down and say they ain't living like that, but according to the profession of the mouth of the average black person, they are believers in Jesus Christ. That's most of our people. And they're still not where they need to be. Why? Because that part don't matter. What matters is how you actually live a principled life, not whether you believe in this happened or not. And if you want to deal with happenings, I think the best, more mature thing to do, if you want to study ancient happenings, is things to start, not to stay, to start, to introduce you to prior knowledge. I think it's more advantageous to start with documented history first. If you want to go to the things that can't be proven, have at it. I just wouldn't start there.
Well, look, give us a scenario of something that you think that a person does not have to believe happened, and whatever reference that you're using.
I just gave you 4 of them, but I'm going to tell you again, you're so smart. Like Moses parting the Red Sea. That's one.
Okay. Moses, so you're saying that people are pushing the narrative that if you do not believe that Moses parted the Red Sea, you're not a good person.
But I'm saying, brother, I'm going to say it one more time. In my experiences, Bruce, I can't speak for you, brother. I know you grew up, you're very benevolent. I'm not benevolent like you. I'm still a sinner, bro. What I'm saying is I've met people in my life that have disqualified. I was born and raised in the church, bro. I seen women spend their life in the church and all they got was big, fat, and they died alone. So what I'm saying is a lot of these sisters that our grandmothers, they died in these places with nothing, bro. Because they were so caught up in the belief of the blood and speaking in tongues and all of that. But they didn't eat right. They didn't exercise. They gossiped. So the dogma isn't the answer. The belief isn't the answer. It's principle living that you can get as a byproduct of religion, but you don't have to get it strictly from there. You can get a lot of things from religion. I hope you get the principles from it. But from looking around at our people, most of them didn't get the principles. They got the dogma. They got the shouting and shit. They got the performative aspects of the black church via the Bible. They're not living principles.
Well, look, like again, you're stacking again, because what I try to do is just I just try to have a dialogue with you on a particular concept of understanding, and when you stack the story from your past onto it, it kind of blurs.
You're too smart to not be able to catch up. Come on, bro. I ain't talking nothing crazy. I'm just saying nothing crazy, bro. I'm not saying nothing crazy.
Every time you do that, I had to keep.
No, y'all just used to dealing with these regular deglers, and then you meet me.
Here's the point. Here's the point I was trying to make.